Lincoln is typically the sea of red for Husker game days, but this week it is a sea of blue as the blue and gold FFA Jackets of Nebraska have taken over downtown Lincoln. Good day to you from inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. I'm Bryce Duskett, joined alongside Alex Makovica.
We have visited with students all across the state here in Lincoln to get a feel of what it's like here at Nebraska FFA. We are kicking off our coverage. We will be bringing you pre-shows for every general session of this 96th Nebraska FFA State Convention.
Lots to get into for our first pre-session report. We've got interviews with the Nebraska FFA state officers, but up first, of course, East Campus here as part of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln was pretty darn busy during the first day of the Nebraska FFA Convention. You, Alex, had a chance to head over there and catch up with some of those students.
We're over here on East Campus. The floriculture competition is just getting ready to get underway, and Jenna Eberspacher joins us now from the Seward FFA chapter. What is floriculture? What do you guys do?
Floriculture is basically the study of plants and being able to arrange them as well as identify them. Within our competition, we have 3 different parts. We have a team component where we go and we arrange floral vases. We have another component where we take tests over all things floriculture. And finally, our third component is plant identification, where we name and identify the different kinds of plants, leaves.
Okay, so talk about how you can use that in your everyday life. Like what applications are there?
So within floriculture, we get to use that in our everyday life. Definitely if you own a plant shop, it would be very useful. I'm also using it right now as prom's coming up. We all made our own bouquets, corsages, and boutonnieres. I've also taken our own plant science class as well as our floriculture class, where I've gotten to learn so many different things about the different arrangements you can make, as well as all the different avenues that you can take within the floriculture industry.
Awesome. What's the best part about being in floriculture?
My favorite part about being in floriculture is definitely getting to make the beautiful arrangements. I love being able to see how they turn out and being creative with the different colors of flowers.
So it sounds like it would be super easy to just arrange flowers, but what's the science behind that? Like what goes into it?
There's a whole bunch of different principles of elements within floriculture, so anything from line to space. There's different flowers that we have to put in different places so that everything looks even and spread out and nothing looks too close together. There's no colors clashing and no flowers are right by each other, as well as having balance all throughout the entire arrangement so that it just looks put together.
Excellent. Okay, Jenna, you are also competing in some other things here at State Convention. What does that look like for you?
It's definitely going to be a busy time. I was our district extemporaneous speaker winner, so I will be competing at that at the Cornhusker Hotel this afternoon, where I don't even know my topic going into it, and I have 30 minutes to prepare, so definitely excited for that.
Back on East Campus, another competition that's going on is Ag Communications, and joining us now is Elle Badsteber of the Lakeview FFA chapter. For those who aren't familiar, what goes into the Ag Communications competition?
Well, we take an editing quiz and a communications quiz, and we also do a media plan. So we basically, this year it was a commodity board, and we had to pick a commodity board and create a media plan promoting the commodity board.
Okay, so Elle, talk about the kinds of skills you need to compete in this competition.
You need pretty good grammar skills and editing skills. You need to know a little bit about like newspaper, journalism, all the things. So yeah.
Why was this something you wanted to compete in?
I like to think I have pretty good grammar skills, but I think it was probably just something I'm good at, and it was an interesting competition for me because I think it's unlike any other competition in ag. So, yeah.
So Elle, you mentioned you're a sophomore, so you still have time to think about your future plans, but how might that impact your future career?
Well, I think that this competition might be a way to find out something that I want to do later in my life. You know, it's just something different.
You mentioned that you're here for the next 3 days for State FFA. What else do you guys get to do while you're here?
I think we get to go to some sessions, obviously walk around and get some good food, which is going to be fun, maybe do a little shopping. But yeah, other competitions if you have them.
Best part of being in FFA, what is it for you, Elle?
Oh, just getting to know new people and networking is such a fun part because that's something I wouldn't necessarily get to do anywhere else.
Man, there's a lot of students that take over East Campus. I've heard college students joke that they should just cancel all the classes because people are involved helping out with this contest. And of course, the FFA members got to take over all the open spaces as they get ready for those contests. A lot of fun, Alex.
That's just one snippet of what's happening here at State Convention. A big part, the Nebraska FFA State Officer Team. And Bryce, you had a chance to visit with the state officers to get a feel of what they're going to be doing here at State Convention, a sneak peek at their retiring addresses. Let's head to that interview.
Joining us now on set for our pre-session video, three of the Nebraska FFA state officers, Nebraska FFA State Vice Presidents Paige Bunn, as well as Bethany Nichols. State Secretary Alex Boudreau is also here. Appreciate the three of you sitting down with us as we talk ahead of some of your upcoming retiring addresses. But Paige, let's start with you. Does this feel real? Has a year passed? Is that really the case?
It doesn't feel like the time has passed entirely. It feels like we were just here. Thinking back, it feels like we just got elected, but so much has happened over the last year, so it's been busy.
I want to go back for you in particular. That moment you heard your name called on stage inside Pinnacle Bank Arena, how did that feel?
It was kind of undescribable. I didn't have the words for it. I ran up on stage, and it was like, we're doing this, but it did, I don't think, set in for quite a while after that, so we really got moved into Lincoln and started doing stuff. But it's a fun experience, and I don't think even then I'd be able to describe what it's like.
Yeah. Bethany, let's bring you into the conversation. I want to get your thoughts. If you could try to describe the year as a Nebraska FFA state officer in just a couple of words, how would you do so?
I would say amazing. Just all of the opportunities that we've had this year were truly amazing, and all the people that we met. So definitely amazing.
You talk about opportunities, the experiences you've had. What in particular are you going to remember about the past year?
Yeah, I'm going to remember the members the most, just the impact that they had on me throughout the whole time. So we met them first at Colt Conference, and then we just kept seeing again through Edge and then chapter visits, and just the impact that they made on me, teaching me what their definition of agriculture was and what agriculture looks like to them. So.
Let's bring in Alex Boudreau into the conversation, serving as state secretary for a couple of additional days here. Alex, before you and your teammates will retire. You talk about traveling the state of Nebraska. What's that look like over the past year for you and your teammates?
Yeah, well, the biggest time, obviously we do an Edge conference in the fall, which had quite a bit of traveling to it, but really chapter visits in the spring was our big traveling moment. We went, I was all across the state, Ainsworth, Valentine, I was in Chadron, I was all over the place. So really been traveling wise, has been the last couple months, but it was a lot of fun and I could do it again. So.
What did you enjoy about the chapter visits?
Definitely, like Bethany said, just networking and being able to talk to students and catch up with people that we met in the fall was really cool to do that and see all the progress and what every student's doing, and it was really cool. So.
Are most FFA chapters that you visit, are they pretty similar in their structure? Do you find some differences?
Yeah, so I think there's a wide variety of chapters and their growth. I saw chapters that have really small facilities and they just started and they're just growing. And I saw chapters that have a huge alumni background and have big facilities and their chapter's huge. So it was really cool to see both sides of the spectrum and seeing what's growing in the middle and in the end, and seeing all that was really cool. So.
Well, Alex, you and your teammates are busy this week because you are hosting these sessions inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. Let's head back over to Paige as we talk about your retiring address in particular. Before I ask you about that, that's a speech you and your teammates will give. What inspired you to run for state FFA office?
What really inspired me was just thinking back to my senior year in high school and going to convention, and you see them up on stage and you always see them, in this bright, positive outlook, and I was like, maybe that's something I want to do. And my mom definitely encouraged me to do it, and my advisor was there along the way, and so I don't think I could have ever decided to take that leap to apply without them. And so really it was the opportunity I saw plus my support just pushing me forward.
So you are going to be one of those people on the stage this week delivering your retiring address. What is your message to Nebraska FFA?
Yeah, so mine deals with that there's a lot of challenges we face in life. I think we can all agree on that. And just how we deal with them can make a difference on how we see those challenges. Instead of seeing it as maybe a stopping point, a challenge can actually be something that we use as a benefit for us later on. And so taking a look into that and just seeing how much these challenges can actually make a difference.
Looking forward to hearing about that good message. Just share. Bethany, for you, if you look back on perhaps a moment you decided to run for state FFA office, what was it for you?
Yeah, I would say the moment is definitely just the conferences that I attended with the state officers. I've wanted to run for state office since around the time I was a freshman is really when I got the idea. But my senior year, just going to all of the conferences and talking to them and realizing this is something I could do and this is something that I could see a big benefit in, and meeting all of Nebraska FFA members would be a lot of fun. And so definitely just seeing them at conferences, and yeah.
Your final message to Nebraska FFA, what will it be?
Yeah, my retiring address is titled Moving Through the Motions. Moments, not motions, moving through the moments. And it's just about how we all go through a lot of moments every day, and those moments can come and then they're gone, and you have to really live in that moment. And yeah.
Well, Alex, as we begin to wrap up our time here, you'll have your time on the stage to deliver one of those retiring addresses. Your message is?
Self-discipline, and choosing self-discipline in all that we do, and having the circumstances in our life and being able to choose discipline and doing those things makes a big difference in the goals and the aspirations that we have. So
there are state officer candidates that are eager to hear perhaps their name called at the end of the week. If you could give a piece of advice to one of those candidates, if you could go back, you were one of them a year ago, what advice would you share, Alex?
Live in the moment and be calm. Just it's all gonna be all right. It's a lot. It's overwhelming at times, right? Because it's a new thing, it's a new opportunity. You're thrown right into it. But knowing that it's all going to be okay, and just enjoy the moment and live in it, and be calm.
Much easier said than done
Yes,
for those candidates, no doubt.
Yes.
Alex, Bethany, and Paige, three of the Nebraska FFA state officers joining us here on our pre-session show.
Again, those retiring addresses coming up at this year's 96th Nebraska FFA State Convention. Again, the theme this year, unwritten.
There are more than 7,000 FFA members registered for this convention, nearly 8,000 people all involved when you count in those advisors and supporters that'll flock here to downtown Lincoln in particular, where Alex and I join you from inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. Doors are opening, so things are going to get quite busy behind us. And we want to bring you a segment where we had a chance to visit with Matt Kreifels. He's the one coordinating those career development events that take place on East Campus, where Alex was just a little bit ago. Let's check out that segment now.
We're back at Pinnacle Bank Arena, this time visiting with Matt Kreifels, an associate professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And Matt, you play a big role in the competitions that happen here during state convention. First of all, just tell us more about that and what that looks like for you.
You bet. We are privileged to host over 4,300 FFA members on East Campus and at Sound Hills Global Event Center and at Southeast Community College who are participating in career development events, which are the technical knowledge and skill events in agriculture here in Lincoln during the convention.
So a great chance, you mentioned East Campus, to get those students exposed to what East Campus has to offer. What are those student interactions like?
They are all over the place, and we love it. The College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources, in addition to the competitions, hosts workshops. There's a welcome event, there's free ice cream. There are a lot of different opportunities for students to get in and around campus in a way that we hope makes it feel at home. We like to refer to East Campus as small town East Campus. I know we're part of a larger university, but out there and in the College of Agriculture, it is a small town.
So Matt, you and I were chatting before we started recording that one of the big things you guys focus on is the growth you've seen in ag education. Can you share the size and scope of what that looks like right now?
Yeah, I like to think about the seniors that are here at the convention, the FFA members that are seniors in high school. They were kindergartners in around 2010 or so. And that was kind of a turning point in the history of ag education in the state of Nebraska. Back then we had 133 high schools that offered ag education that had FFA chapters. Today there are 214 schools that have ag education, 214 FFA chapters compared to 133 back when these students were kindergartners.
What's the need for growing FFA chapters across the state and also filling those roles with teachers?
Well, that has been the challenge. We have seen schools open programs. We've seen schools say, hey, this is so popular, we need a second agriculture teacher in our high school, to the point where we're having troubles finding enough teachers to fill those positions. And so our department, in the Agricultural Leadership, Education, and Communication Department, prepares future high school ag teachers. And so we've been scrambling like crazy, along with the rest of Team Ag Ed, to say, hey, students, this is a great opportunity with lots of options for them across the state of Nebraska.
Okay, what are those opportunities for students in Ag Ed?
Well, most of our students choose to be high school agriculture teachers. And this year, as an example, there have been 53 openings, schools that have said, hey, we need a teacher, or we need a second teacher, or even a third teacher. And so those are the opportunities spread across the state, in small schools and even in schools as large as Omaha-Bryan Public Schools and also Lincoln here.
All right, what else is important to mention, Matt, that we haven't had a chance to touch on?
Well, number one, we need more students to consider teaching as an option for their career. We know students love agricultural education. There are over 7,000 students that are expected here in Lincoln today. And they're here because they love agriculture, they love what they do in FFA, and most of them really, really like their ag teacher. But sometimes it's hard as a high school student to say, like, I want to do that. I want to come and teach other people like me. But if they take an opportunity to look around to see what impact they can have on students, I think that is really compelling for students to do, and we just hope to help expose them to those options.
A big thanks to Matt for his time here at State Convention. Coming up this week, there's a lot of things happening, but one highlight, Nebraska head volleyball coach John Cook is going to be hosting a Q&A session coming up on Friday, so be sure to stay tuned for that later this week.
Yeah, Coach Cook, he's taken a fascination with horses in particular over the past couple of years. You know, he's dominating those volleyball courts and leading the Huskers to several national championships, and he talks about how he relaxes when it comes to riding horses, but what he's doing when it comes to team roping is not always that relaxing. So looking forward to hearing his thoughts. That is going to do it for our first pre-session video here inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. We got to get off the stage because those state officers are going to be out here shortly. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.